And Cameron on his show Talk with Flea spoke about who he believes had the bigger impact at their peak between Drake and Lil Wayne. Because Wayne, when he was on top, he was smoking hot. And Drake, of course, when he was on top, he was a serious problem as well, but just for a longer period of time. Check out what Cam had to say about this interesting debate. Check out the clip.
Bigger impact is Wayne. You don't get Drake without Wayne. You don't get Drake without the Wayne cosign. Now, what Drake did after that cosign, he went and made magic. He went on a terrific run. A lot of people need a cosign sometime. And it don't always work. Sometimes you get a cosign and be like, I don't care who you did a song with. I don't like you. Yeah, it's trash.
Yeah, fam. So Cam said it has to be Lil Wayne, because if there's no Wayne, then there's no Drizzy Drake. Cam spoke about that cosign, that important cosign that when a rapper or a producer gives you that stamp of approval, it makes the transition from you being an unknown artist or an artist that's not got that shine to you being an artist that millions and millions of people are gonna give a chance to and listen to and buy their album. Just look at the Diplomats by themselves. Cam, after he went to Rockefeller, had that great album, his biggest selling album of his career, Come Home With Me. On that album, he had Jewels on it, he had Freaky Zeke on it, he had Jim Jones on it. And from there, you see people started wondering, who are these guys? Even though they were on his previous albums, or Jim Jones was anyway, this gave them the light and that stamp of approval, which made Jewels a platinum artist and gave Jim Jones his start off. You look at G-Unit's the same, 50, Banks, Yayo, Buck. They sold multi-platinum albums, not to say that they were not talented artists, but 50 was the bigger artist and everybody loved 50 at the time. And so of course, his fans are gonna love his artists. Cam gave an example of Mace and Diddy, then Mace and Cam as well. But you can look at Bishop Lamont as an example of it not working. He was under Dr. Dre, the greatest hip-hop producer of all time, arguably. And he never had a huge career when he was with Dre or after. You got Eminem and Dr. Dre. Would Eminem have sold a lot if he didn't hit with Dre? Probably or possibly, but Dre at that time was on fire. So Eminem and Dre at that moment, it was just a perfect combination for him to go and sell those diamond albums. And then of course you got 50, who was co-signed by Dre and Eminem a year or two later, which the rest was history. 50 went and sold 10 million and 12 million albums and went and had the career that he had. But would 50 have been great without Eminem and Dr. Dre? I would say no, because 50 had already put out an album under Columbia Records that didn't sell anything. Just on a side note, someone I always think doesn't get enough credit for not having a cosign and selling crazy amount of albums is Nelly. He didn't come under any producer or any rapper. Of course, he was on a big label at Universal, but the music spoke for itself, and he sold millions. I don't think it spoke about enough. Back to this debate, Cam, I think he's right. The cosign in hip-hop is very, very important. We have to remember what Wayne was when Drake came out. Wayne was the #1 rapper in the game. From like 2006 to like 2009, Wayne had it locked down. Album after album, mixtape after mixtape. Anybody's song he was on, it blew up. That's just what it was. And not because he was just some cheesy pop star rapper, but because he had bars and he had a style of rap, a whole look that made him unique. You can look at the rappers that came out after Wayne. They were all just little Waynes. He birthed a whole scene for good reasons and bad reasons, but his influence was definitely felt. And we all know Drake is a huge artist, potentially the biggest rap artist of all time just on records alone. But would Drake have been this big if he didn't get that stamp from Young Money, Cash Money? Because Drake is so big now, you don't even think of Young Money when you think of Drake. You just think of Drake as his own separate entity, a great artist on his own, making great music, with the help of a few ghostwriters. But that initial push at the beginning was very important. Like Cam said, Drake has gone on to do what his talent has made him do over the years, but that initial push is very underrated. You look at any artist that came under somebody, whether, like I said, it's Dre or 50 or Eminem or the G-Unit guys, the Dipset guys, They may not be on the same page or as close with their mentor as they were or was, but at the end of the day, whatever level their career is right now is all because they were co-signed by that individual. Because every artist has that story where they were trying to get signed for years prior to them actually blowing up. I'm sure Drake was trying for years. We all know Eminem was. DMX was. All these people were trying for years until they met somebody that put them on. But Wayne at his peak and Drake at his peak, who had the better run? Who was more impactful? I probably would say Wayne, just because of the influence he had on the younger generation. I'm not saying Drake hasn't had an influence on the sound of music, because I've heard a lot of people trying to sound like Drake for the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, maybe even 10. But I'm not seeing a whole bunch of little Drakes coming out, and I haven't seen any in the last several years. Whereas with Wayne, like I said before, you see a lot of Wayne influence on hip hop. You might see a lot more Drake influence on the R&B side. But one thing you can't deny, the longevity that Drake's been on top can't be matched by anyone. To be arguably the #1 hip hop / R&B artist for this many years is crazy. Like, he never fell off. There was a time where Rick Ross was the guy, but Drake was still up there. There was a time where Future was the guy, but Drake was still up there. There's time Wayne was the guy, Drake was still up there. And even now, when you talk about NBA Youngboy, or the Big Sean's in the past, or the J. Cole's, or even now the Kendrick, Drake is still up there. This is after losing the most emphatic beating of a rap battle you're ever gonna see. Drake is still at the top with the biggest streamers in the game. Don't get me wrong, Lil Wayne, you could say, hey, he's been rapping since 1999 in the public eye, so he had a hell of a run. But Wayne, for most of that time, was never considered the best rapper. In his era, his colleagues at the time were DMX, Jay-Z. These guys were all way ahead of Wayne back in the 90s and early 2000s. Then you had 50 in 03. You had Ja Rule. These guys were ahead of Wayne when he was rapping. It was only till 05, 06, 07 when Wayne took over. His height of his popularity was crazy, don't get me wrong. And on a rap level, I would definitely say his time was more impactful than Drake. But if you just look overall, as artists, Drake has been way bigger than Wayne. But if you're talking about on a hip hop level, which I think we should keep that discussion in, I would definitely say Wayne was more impactful than Drake. So I'd have to agree with Killer Cam. But that's just my opinion. I want to know yours. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And for just a few dollars a month, you can support the channel. Exclusive content just for you. This is Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.